I sold our family house for $320,000 without telling my siblings, and now they're threatening to sue me. My mom is in the hospital having panic attacks because of what I did. My brother drove 6 hours just to scream at me in my driveway. And my sister hasn't spoken to me in 3 weeks. Everyone says I'm a monster, but they have no idea what I've been dealing with for the past 4 years. Before we get into this mess, if you're enjoying these crazy family drama stories, please hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And drop a comment letting me know what city you're watching from. I love seeing where everyone's tuning in from. Let me start from the beginning because there's a lot of context here that matters. I'm Derek, 38M, and I have 2 siblings. My brother Marcus, 42M, and my sister Jennifer, 35F. Our dad passed away 4 years ago from a sudden heart attack. He was 67, still working part-time at the hardware store he loved, and literally died doing what he enjoyed, helping a customer pick out the right drill bits. It was devastating for all of us, but especially for our mom, Patricia, now 69F. Here's where it gets complicated. My dad died without a will. I know. Everyone says you need a will, but Dad was one of those people who thought he had plenty of time. He wasn't rich by any means, but he had the house, a beautiful 3-bedroom Cape Cod-style home in the suburbs that he and Mom bought in 1987 for $87,000. Over the years, that neighborhood got really desirable. Good schools, low crime, close to the new tech hub that opened up about 10 miles away. The house was easily worth $300,000 plus by the time Dad died. When Dad passed, the house automatically went to my mom as the surviving spouse. That's important to understand. Legally, it was 100% hers. But here's what my siblings don't seem to grasp. Mom couldn't maintain it. She's 69 years old with arthritis in both knees, high blood pressure, and early-stage diabetes. The house had 3 floors if you count the finished basement, a huge backyard that needed constant maintenance, old pipes that kept bursting every winter, and a roof that Dad had been planning to replace soon, for about 5 years. I live 20 minutes away from Mom. Marcus lives in Colorado, moved there in 2019 for his wife's job. Jennifer lives about an hour and a half away in the city with her husband and 2 kids. Guess who became the default caretaker when Dad died? Yeah, me. For 4 years, I've been going to Mom's house minimum 3 times a week, usually more. I mow the lawn every Saturday from April to October. I shovel the driveway and walkway every single time it snows, and we're talking New England here, so that's a lot. Last winter alone, I was over there 23 times just for snow removal. I've repaired the garbage disposal twice, replaced the hot water heater, $1,800 that I paid up front and Mom paid me back over 6 months, fixed countless leaky faucets, replaced the toilet in the master bathroom when it cracked, patched the roof temporarily with tar paper 3 different times. And I spent an entire weekend last July repainting the entire exterior of the house because the paint was literally peeling off in sheets. I've also been taking Mom to most of her doctor appointments. She doesn't like driving on the highway anymore, and her primary care doctor, cardiologist, and endocrinologist are all at the medical center that requires highway driving. That's at least twice a month, sometimes more. I do her grocery shopping with her every Wednesday because she can't carry heavy bags anymore. I've been managing her bills and finances because she gets confused with the online payment systems. Marcus? He visits maybe twice a year for a week each time. He's got his own life out in Boulder, I get it. His wife Sarah has a high-powered consulting job. They've got their hiking and skiing lifestyle. When he does visit, he's great. He takes Mom out to dinner. They watch old movies together. He fixes a couple small things around the house. But then he leaves, and I'm back to being the only one dealing with everything. Jennifer. She's got 2 kids, Tyler, 8M, and Emma, 5F, and works full-time as a paralegal. Her husband Brad travels constantly for work. She's drowning in her own life. She comes by maybe once a month, usually for Sunday dinner. She brings the grandkids. Mom loves it. But Jen is so stressed and exhausted that she's basically useless for actual help. I don't mean that cruelly. I genuinely understand she's overwhelmed. But understanding doesn't change the fact that I'm the one doing everything. Last November, things reached a breaking point. Mom fell in the bathroom. She was trying to clean the tub, which I've told her 100 times to let me do, and she slipped. She didn't break anything, thank God, but she was bruised badly and couldn't get up by herself. She laid there for 45 minutes before she managed to reach her phone and call me. I was in a work meeting and didn't see the call. She finally called 911. When I got to the hospital, she was sobbing, not from pain, but from fear and humiliation. That's when I started seriously thinking, Mom cannot stay in this house. It's too big, too much maintenance, too many stairs, too isolated. She needs to be somewhere smaller, safer, with people around. An assisted living facility or a nice apartment in a senior community. I brought it up with Mom that night in the hospital. At first, she was completely against it. That house is my home, Derek. Your father and I raised you kids there. I'm not leaving. I understood, I really did. But over the next few weeks, I kept gently bringing it up. I showed her some beautiful senior living communities nearby. Places with activities, medical staff on site, maintenance included, social opportunities. Places where she wouldn't be alone and scared when something went wrong. By January, Mom was starting to come around. She admitted she was lonely in that big house. She admitted the maintenance was overwhelming, that she worried constantly about things breaking. She missed having people to talk to during the day. Dad had been her whole world, and without him, that house was just a reminder of what she'd lost. Here's what I should have done. I should have called a family meeting with Marcus and Jennifer right then. I know that now. But here's why I didn't. In December, right after Mom's fall, I sent a detailed email to both of them. I outlined everything. Mom's fall, my concerns about her safety, the maintenance issues with the house, and my suggestion that we should start looking into alternative living arrangements for her. I asked them to call me so we could discuss options together. Marcus responded 3 days later with, "Let's talk after the holidays. I'm slammed with year-end work stuff." Then he never brought it up again. I sent a follow-up in mid-January. Nothing. Jennifer responded more quickly, but just said, "I don't think Mom needs to leave her home. Can't we just hire a cleaning service and a handyman to help with maintenance?" I replied, explaining that it wasn't just about maintenance. It was about safety, isolation, and Mom's quality of life. She never responded to that email. I tried calling both of them multiple times. Marcus screened my calls and texted back things like, "Sorry, bro, call you this weekend." Then didn't. Jennifer answered once. We talked for maybe 10 minutes before one of her kids had a meltdown in the background, and she had to go, saying, "We'll figure this out, I promise." But we never did. So, yeah, I was frustrated. I was angry, actually. I'm the one dealing with this every single day while they're living their lives hours away, and they couldn't even have a serious conversation with me about our mother's safety and well-being. By February, Mom and I were seriously looking at options. We visited 3 different senior living facilities. She fell in love with one called Meadowbrook Senior Community. It's this gorgeous place with a main community building that has a library, a movie theater, exercise classes, hobby rooms, and a dining hall. They have individual apartments that are small but nicely designed, with emergency call buttons, and staff that check on residents daily. The best part? They have different levels of care, so as Mom's needs change, she can move to more assisted areas without leaving the community entirely. But here's the problem. It's expensive. The entry fee for the independent living apartment was $85,000, plus monthly costs of about $3,200. Mom's only income is Dad's Social Security survivor benefits and a small pension, about $2,400 a month total. She had maybe $40,000 in savings. The math didn't work unless we sold the house. I talked to Mom about it extensively. She understood. By March, she was actually excited about it. She'd made friends with some women who lived at Meadowbrook when we'd visited. They'd invited her to a book club and a watercolor painting class. I could see her coming back to life, being excited about something for the first time since Dad died. Now, here's where I know I'm going to get heat. I made a decision. In early April, I contacted a real estate agent. I had Mom sign a power of attorney document giving me the ability to handle the sale of the house on her behalf. She was completely aware and consenting. I did not trick her or manipulate her. She wanted to move, she wanted to go to Meadowbrook, and she understood the house had to be sold to make that happen. I told myself I would tell Marcus and Jennifer once we had the house listed and knew what we were dealing with. That was my plan, I swear. But the market was absolutely insane. The agent told me we'd probably get offers immediately given the location and condition of the neighborhood. She was right. We listed on a Thursday afternoon in mid-April at $315,000. And by Sunday evening, we had 4 offers, the highest being $320,000 cash, willing to close in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's what made me freeze. The buyer was some investor looking to flip houses. He had cash ready, wanted to close fast. If I called Marcus and Jennifer then, I knew what would happen. Jennifer would want to think about it and discuss it with Brad and have multiple conversations. Marcus would want to fly out, see the house, review all the financials, probably hire his own real estate agent for a second opinion. The buyer would get tired of waiting and go with one of the other properties he was looking at. And honestly, I was exhausted. I was tired of being the only one who gave a damn about Mom's daily life. I was tired of begging my siblings to engage with the reality of the situation. I was tired of carrying all of this alone. So I accepted the offer. Mom and I signed the paperwork. I didn't tell Marcus or Jennifer until 3 days before closing. I sent them both a text on May 2nd at 7:34 p.m. I still have it saved. It said, "Hey, need to let you both know. Mom and I found her a great assisted living place called Meadowbrook. She's really excited about it. We sold the house to pay for it. Closing is this Friday. I know this is sudden, but the buyer needed a fast close and Mom is ready to move. Call me if you want to talk details." My phone started ringing within minutes. Jennifer first. She was hysterical, and I mean screaming, crying, barely coherent. "What do you mean you sold the house? You can't just sell the house. That's our family home. How could you not tell us? How could you do this?" I tried to explain everything calmly. I told her about Mom's fall, about how I'd been trying to discuss this for months, about how neither she nor Marcus would engage with the situation. She just kept screaming. "You had no right. That house isn't just Mom's, it's all of ours. We grew up there. Our memories are there. You can't just erase our childhood." "The house is Mom's, Jennifer. Legally 100% hers. She made this decision. I helped her execute it. She's 69 years old and grieving. You manipulated her. You took advantage of her." That's when I lost my temper. "I've been taking care of her for 4 years while you visit once a month for dinner. I've been maintaining that house, driving her everywhere, managing her entire life while you and Marcus do nothing. Don't you dare accuse me of manipulating her when you can't even return a phone call about her safety." She hung up on me. Then Marcus called. He was cold and controlled, which was somehow worse than Jennifer's hysteria. Derek, I'm going to give you one chance to explain what the hell you think you're doing. I explained again. The fall, the maintenance, the isolation, Mom's happiness at Meadowbrook, the offers, the fast closing timeline. And you didn't think we deserved to know about any of this? You didn't think we might have opinions about where our mother lives, about selling our family home? I tried to involve you. I sent emails in December and January. I called you multiple times. You were too busy. Too busy? Derek, I have a job. I have a wife. I can't just drop everything because you send an email. You should have called a formal family meeting. You should have given us real notice, not some casual email I probably missed in my inbox. You didn't miss it. You responded saying we'd talk after the holidays and then ghosted me. So your solution was to just go behind our backs and sell the house? Do you have any idea how insane that is? The house is Mom's, not yours, not Jennifer's, not mine, Mom's. She wanted to sell it and move. I helped her do that. We'll see what a lawyer says about that, he said, and hung up. The closing happened on May 5th. Mom was nervous, but happy. The investor buyer was some guy in his 30s who barely looked at the house, just signed papers quickly. The check was deposited. We had $320,000 minus closing costs and real estate fees, about $301,000 total. Mom's entry fee to Meadowbrook was $85,000. I used another $30,000 to furnish her new apartment and handle moving costs. The remaining $186,000 went into an investment account for Mom's future care expenses and monthly costs not covered by her income. With careful management, it would last her hopefully 15 to 20 years, depending on what level of care she eventually needed. Mom moved into Meadowbrook on May 18th. I spent that whole week helping her settle in, building furniture, arranging her photos and belongings, introducing her to neighbors. She cried a few times. Leaving the house where she'd lived for 37 years was emotional, of course. But by the end of the week, she was smiling more than I'd seen in years. She'd already made friends, joined 2 clubs, and had a date set to volunteer in the community garden. I thought maybe once Marcus and Jennifer saw how happy Mom was, they'd understand. I thought wrong. Jennifer came to visit on May 21st. I'd texted her Mom's new address. She didn't come to see Mom. She came to confront me. I was there helping Mom hang some pictures when Jennifer arrived. She took one look at Mom's small apartment, nice, but definitely small compared to the house, and her face just hardened. Can we talk outside, Derek? We went to the parking lot. Brad was in the car with the kids. She'd brought the whole family, I guess, for moral support or as witnesses or something. This is what you did to her? Stuck her in some old folks' home in a tiny apartment? This is a beautiful community that Mom loves. She chose this. She's happy here. She's saying that because you convinced her she had no choice. Because you rushed the sale so fast, she couldn't process what was happening. Jennifer, I spent months discussing this with her. This wasn't rushed for her, only for you. You stole our inheritance, Derek. That's when it really hit me what this was actually about. Inheritance. Dad died without a will. Everything went to Mom, as it should. That money is for Mom's care, not for us to inherit. That house was worth over $300,000. Split 3 ways. That's $100,000 each. You took that from us. Marcus and I will never be able to afford a house like that, and you just sold it without even asking us. Are you hearing yourself right now? You're mad because you can't inherit money from our mother who is still alive and needs that money for her care. We could have figured something else out. We could have taken out equity, or I could have moved in with her, or... You live an hour and a half away, with a full-time job and 2 kids. Marcus lives in Colorado. Neither of you could have done anything, and you know it. You should have given us the choice. You had no right to make this decision alone. Mom made this decision. I just helped her do it. That's not what Marcus's lawyer says. My blood went cold. What lawyer? Marcus hired a lawyer. We're looking into whether you had undue influence over Mom, whether the power of attorney was legitimate, whether this sale can be reversed. You're going to sue me? Your own brother? For helping our mother? For stealing our inheritance and manipulating an elderly, grieving woman, yeah. She left. I went back inside shaking. Mom could tell something was wrong, but I didn't want to upset her. I told her Jennifer was just emotional about the change and needed time. That night, Marcus sent me a formal letter from his attorney. It alleged that I had engaged in elder financial abuse, that I'd manipulated Mom into signing documents she didn't understand, that the sale of the house should be investigated for fraud, and that I should immediately provide full accounting of all of Mom's finances and the proceeds from the house sale. I called Mom's lawyer. Yes, she has her own lawyer now because of this mess. He reviewed everything and said I was legally in the clear. Mom had full mental capacity, the power of attorney was properly executed, the sale was legitimate, and everything was documented. But he warned me. Legal and right aren't always the same as keeping family peace. Your siblings can make this very expensive and difficult for you, even if they ultimately lose. Over the next week, things got worse. Marcus posted something on Facebook about family betrayal without naming me directly, but everyone knew. I started getting messages from cousins, family friends, people from church asking what happened. Jennifer told her version to our aunt and uncle, Dad's siblings, and now they're not speaking to me either. My wife, Lauren, 36F, forgot to mention her earlier, we've been married 11 years, has been supportive, but stressed. You did the right thing for your mom, she keeps saying. But babe, you should have told them sooner. You had to know this would explode. She's right. I did know. Some part of me knew this would be a nuclear bomb. But I also know that if I'd told them before the sale, it never would have happened. They would have stalled and argued and fought, the buyer would have walked, and Mom would still be in that house, isolated and at risk. Yesterday, this is the update that made me finally write this post. I got a call from Mom's doctor. She's been having severe anxiety attacks since all this started. The stress of Marcus and Jennifer fighting with me, the guilt she feels about causing problems, the lawyer letters, it's all too much for her. Her blood pressure has been dangerously high. They're considering admitting her to the hospital if it doesn't stabilize. Mom ours called me crying this morning. Derek, honey, maybe we should just give them some of the money. I can't handle them being this angry. I can't handle you kids fighting over me. Mom, that money is for your care. For the next 15 to 20 years. We can't just give them $100,000 each because they're throwing a tantrum. But the family is falling apart. And that's where I am now. My brother is threatening to sue me. My sister isn't speaking to me. My extended family thinks I'm some kind of con artist who stole from my own mother. Mom is literally making herself sick with stress over this. My wife is supportive but clearly wishes I'd handled this differently. But here's what nobody seems to care about. Mom is thriving at Meadowbrook. When she's not stressed about Marcus and Jennifer's drama, she's the happiest I've seen her in 4 years. She has friends, she has activities, she's safe, she's not alone. Isn't that what actually matters? I did 4 years of daily caregiving while my siblings did the bare minimum. I found Mom a place where she can live safely and happily for the rest of her life. I used her money from her house that was legally 100% hers to pay for it. And somehow I'm the villain? The worst part is starting to doubt myself. Marcus sent me a long email yesterday listing everything I stole from them. Not just the money, but the opportunity to say goodbye to the house, the chance to get family heirlooms and furniture before it was all moved or donated, the ability to make this decision together as a family. He said I robbed them of their voice and their inheritance, and that I'm no better than a con artist who preys on vulnerable elderly people. Jennifer's last text to me said, "I hope you can sleep at night knowing you destroyed this family for money. Dad would be ashamed of you." That one really got to me. Because what if they're right? What if I was so focused on what needed to be done that I didn't stop to consider what I was taking from them? The house wasn't just a building. It was where we spent every Christmas morning, where we learned to ride bikes in the driveway, where Dad taught us to change oil in the garage, where Mom hosted every birthday party and holiday dinner for 37 years. But also, they were never going to agree to sell it. I know that. If I'd asked their permission, Jennifer would have suggested 20 alternatives that wouldn't have worked, and Marcus would have wanted to analyze it to death while Mom fell again and maybe broke her hip this time. I did what had to be done, but I destroyed my family doing it. So, am I the asshole? So I posted my situation a few days ago, and honestly, the responses were all over the place. Some people said I was completely justified, others said I was a controlling manipulator, and a bunch said, ESH, everyone sucks here. Which maybe is the most accurate. But things have gotten so much worse since I posted that I need to update everyone because I genuinely don't know what to do anymore. First, let me address some common questions from the comments because they're relevant to what happened next. Yes, Mom is fully mentally competent. Her doctor confirmed this in writing when Marcus's lawyer requested a capacity evaluation. She scored perfectly on cognitive tests. The lawyer backed off that angle pretty quickly. No, I didn't pocket any of the money. Every single cent is accounted for and going toward Mom's care. I have spreadsheets, receipts, bank statements, everything documented. Yes, I probably should have communicated better with my siblings. I get that now. But also, I tried for months and got nowhere. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it. The day after I made my original post, Marcus flew out from Colorado. Didn't tell me he was coming. I found out when Mom called me crying at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, saying Marcus was at Meadowbrook asking her questions, and she was confused and scared. I drove there immediately, broke every speed limit, got there in 14 minutes instead of the usual 20. When I arrived, Marcus was in Mom's apartment with a woman I didn't recognize. Turns out she was his lawyer, Amanda something. They had paperwork spread all over Mom's little dining table, and Mom was sitting on her couch looking absolutely terrified. "What the hell is going on here?" I said the second I walked in. Marcus stood up. I hadn't seen him in person since last Christmas, and he looked different, harder, colder. "We're getting Mom's side of the story, Derek. Her real side, not your manipulated version. You brought a lawyer to interrogate our 69-year-old mother. Are you insane?" The lawyer, Amanda, held up her hand. "Mr. Patterson, I'm simply here to document your mother's testimony regarding the sale of her home and whether she felt pressured." "Get out," I said. "Both of you, get out of her apartment right now." "We have every right to be here," Marcus said. "Mom invited us in." I looked at Mom. She was clutching a tissue, her hands shaking. "Mom, did you invite them? Or did they just show up?" She looked between us, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Marcus said, he said he needed to talk to me about some legal things. I didn't know he was bringing. She consented to this conversation, Amanda said firmly. Mrs. Patterson, you're not being forced to talk to us, correct? You can ask us to leave at any time. I don't want my boys fighting, Mom whispered. That's when I lost it. You're using her guilt about us fighting to get her to talk to you. You're using her fear of conflict to manipulate her into saying what you want. And you have the nerve to accuse me of manipulation? Marcus got in my face. You sold her house out from under her. You isolated her from her family. You convinced her she was helpless and needed to be locked away in this place. This place is a beautiful community where she has friends and activities and 24/7 medical support. Look, around Marcus. She's decorated it with all her favorite things. She's got photos of us everywhere. She's happy here. She's in a 600-square-foot box instead of her 3-bedroom home that she couldn't maintain. That was dangerous for her. That left her isolated and alone. We were shouting at this point. A staff member knocked on the door asking if everything was okay. Mom started crying. Amanda was taking notes on everything we said, which made me even angrier. I forced myself to calm down. Mom, do you want them here right now? Yes or no? She looked at Marcus with such sadness. Honey, I love you, but this is too much. I need you to go. Please. Mom, Marcus started. Please, Marcus, I'm tired. My blood pressure. I just can't do this right now. He looked like she'd slapped him, but he nodded, gathered his papers, and left with Amanda. Before he walked out, he turned to me. This isn't over, Derek. Not even close. After they left, I sat with Mom for 2 hours while she cried. She kept saying I ruined the family, and your father would be so disappointed, and maybe I should just give them the money. Her blood pressure was 168/95, dangerously high. I called her doctor, who came to check on her and ended up prescribing anxiety medication. That night, I got an email from Amanda, the lawyer. It was a formal demand letter requesting 1. Full financial accounting of all of Mom's assets for the past 5 years. 2. Documentation of every expense I'd paid for or on behalf of Mom. 3. Copies of all communications between me and Mom regarding the house sale. 4. Proof that Mom wasn't coerced into signing the power of attorney. 5. An independent appraisal showing the house was sold for fair market value. The letter ended with, if these materials are not provided within 10 business days, we will have no choice but to pursue legal action to protect Mrs. Patterson's interests and investigate potential elder abuse. Elder abuse. They were actually accusing me of elder abuse. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Yes, I had to hire one now, costing me $5,000 just for the retainer. He said we'd comply with reasonable requests, but that this was clearly a fishing expedition looking for anything to use against me. Jennifer called me that same night. I almost didn't answer. But I thought maybe she was calling to be reasonable. Wrong. Marcus told me what you did today. Throwing him out of Mom's apartment, refusing to let him talk to his own mother. He ambushed her with a lawyer, Jennifer. He terrified her. He's trying to protect her from you. From me. I'm the one who's been protecting her for 4 years. You keep saying that like it gives you ownership over her, like you're the only one who gets to make decisions. I'm the only one who was making decisions. Where were you? Where was Marcus? We have lives, Derek. We can't all live 20 minutes away with nothing better to do than hover over Mom. That hurt. A lot. Nothing better to do? I have a full-time job, Jennifer. I have a wife. I have my own life that I put on hold constantly to take care of Mom because nobody else would. Nobody asked you to do that. You appointed yourself as her caretaker, and now you're using it as an excuse to control everything. Someone had to step up. No, someone had to create a problem that only you could solve. Mom was fine in her house. You convinced her she was helpless, that she needed to leave, that the house was too dangerous. You manufactured a crisis so you could swoop in and be the hero. She fell in the bathroom and laid there for 45 minutes. That's not manufactured. That's reality. Elderly people fall sometimes. That doesn't mean they need to be shipped off to an institution. It's not an institution, it's... Stop calling it a community, like that makes it better. It's a home for old people who can't take care of themselves anymore. You took away her independence. I gave her safety and happiness. She has friends there. She's active. She's where you wanted her to be. In a place small enough that you can control her, isolated from the family home where we could all visit, spending down her money so there's nothing left for us when... She stopped abruptly, but we both knew what she almost said. When Mom dies. There it is, I said quietly. That's what this is really about. You're mad that you won't inherit anything. That money was supposed to be our family's future. Do you know how much Tyler's braces are going to cost? Do you know that Emma needs speech therapy that insurance won't cover? Brad and I are drowning in debt, Derek. That house could have changed our lives. So you wanted Mom to stay in a house that was dangerous for her, alone and isolated, potentially for another 10 to 20 years, just so you could eventually inherit it. You wanted her to risk falling again, breaking a hip or worse, so you could get money someday? Don't twist this around. We could have sold it and split the money now. Mom could have moved in with me. Or we could have taken out a reverse mortgage. There were options. Mom doesn't want to live with you, Jennifer. You're overwhelmed with your own family. And a reverse mortgage? That's literally betting on when Mom will die. How is that better than using the money for her care now? Because it would have been a family decision. All of us together, not you playing God. I tried to include you for months. One email isn't trying. A casual mention isn't trying. You should have forced us to pay attention. You should have. I'm not your parent, Jennifer. I'm your brother. It's not my job to force you to care about Mom's well-being. She hung up on me. Again. The next day, I got a Facebook friend request from someone named Katie Reynolds. I didn't recognize the name, but we had 6 mutual friends, including Jennifer. I accepted, thinking maybe it was an old school friend I'd forgotten. Within an hour, she'd posted in a local community group that I'm a member of. Does anyone have experience with elder financial abuse? My friend's mother was manipulated into selling her home by one of her children, and now the family is trying to figure out legal options. Looking for attorney recommendations. I saw it because 3 people tagged me in the comments, asking if this was about my family. Katie Reynolds was Jennifer's friend from her book club. Jennifer had sent her to publicly smear me. I messaged Jennifer immediately. Seriously, you're having your friends post about me online? Her response: I didn't tell Katie to post anything. I just told her what you did. If she decided to ask for advice, that's her choice. Maybe if you didn't want people to think you're abusive, you shouldn't act abusive. I spent the next 2 hours messaging people explaining my side, asking them to report the post, defending myself to people I'd known for years who suddenly questioned my character. The post eventually got taken down by the group admin, but the damage was done. Everyone in our social circle now knew our family was imploding. Lauren was livid. They're destroying your reputation, Derek. You need to fight back. Post your side publicly. but I couldn't do that. Airing this out publicly felt wrong, like it would hurt Mom even more. So I stayed quiet, which apparently made me look guilty to everyone watching. 3 days later, I got a call from our Aunt Susan, Dad's younger sister, 62F. She'd always been the family peacemaker, the one everyone loved. I thought maybe she was calling to mediate. "Derek, honey, I need to understand what happened." I explained everything. Again, the caregiving, the fall, Mom's isolation, the attempts to communicate with Marcus and Jennifer, the sale, Meadowbrook, all of it. She listened quietly, then said, "Okay, but help me understand why you didn't call me, or your Uncle Jim. We could have helped mediate before it got to this point." Honestly, Aunt Susan, it didn't occur to me to involve extended family in Mom's living situation. I thought this was between Mom, me, Marcus, and Jennifer. But we're family too, Derek. And now I'm hearing from Jennifer that you've isolated your mother, that you manipulated her into signing documents, that you sold the family home without telling anyone. That's not what happened. And I'm hearing from Marcus that you threw him and his lawyer out of Patricia's apartment when they just wanted to talk to her. They ambushed her. And I don't know what to believe because I'm only hearing everyone's side third hand, and it's just so unlike you to do something so secretive. I wasn't being secretive. I tried to involve them. One email months ago isn't really involving them, sweetheart. Why does everyone keep saying that? I sent multiple emails. I called. I tried. But you didn't try hard enough to stop you from selling the house without them, did you? I realized then that Marcus and Jennifer had gotten to her first. They'd shaped the narrative, and now everyone in the extended family saw me as the villain. "Aunt Susan, is there a point to this call?" She sighed. "Uncle Jim and I think you kids need a mediator, a neutral third party to sit down together and work this out before it ends up in court. We're offering to facilitate that conversation. All three of you, Patricia, if she's up for it, and us. This Saturday at our house. Does Mom want this?" I called her this morning. She said she'd do anything to stop you kids from fighting. Of course she did. Because Mom can't handle conflict and would agree to anything to make peace, even if it wasn't in her best interest. But I agreed to go. What choice did I have? Saturday came. I drove to Aunt Susan and Uncle Jim's house alone. Lauren wanted to come for support, but I thought having spouses there would make it worse. Jennifer was already there when I arrived, 30 minutes early, which meant she'd probably been there even longer poisoning the well. Marcus showed up exactly on time. We sat around my aunt and uncle's dining room table like we were about to have a family dinner. Except the tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Aunt Susan started, "Okay, we're here because this family's falling apart, and that's not acceptable. You three need to work this out like adults." "I'm willing to work it out," Jennifer said immediately, "if Derek returns the money from the house sale so we can make a family decision about Mom's care together." "The money is spent," I said. "It's in investment accounts for Mom's future care. I can't just give you $100,000 each." "Then take out a loan," Marcus said. "Use the equity in your own house. You created this mess. You figure out how to make it right." "Make it right? I used Mom's money for Mom's care. That's the right thing." "You used money that should have been split between the three of us," Jennifer said. Uncle Jim held up his hands. Wait. Let's back up. Patricia is still alive. Why are we talking about splitting inheritance?" "Because Derek's care plan is going to burn through everything," Marcus said. "At $3,200 a month plus the entry fee, that $300,000 will be gone in what, 8 years? Maybe 10 if the investments do well. Then what? Mom goes on Medicaid and ends up in some state facility while we got nothing? Or, I said slowly, Mom lives comfortably and safely for the next 8 to 10 years. And then yes, if she needs more care, we figure it out then. You know, like normal people who prioritize their living parents' well-being over their future inheritance. Stop acting morally superior, Jennifer snapped. You're not better than us just because you live closer. I never said I was better. I just actually did something instead of just talking about it. You did something behind our backs because you wouldn't engage with the problem. We were shouting again. Aunt Susan tried to calm us down. Uncle Jim suggested we each take a turn explaining our perspective without interruption. Jennifer went first. She talked about how the house represented her childhood, her security, her memories with Dad. She cried talking about how she'd always imagined her kids playing in that same backyard where we played, how she'd wanted to host Thanksgiving there someday like Mom always had. She said I'd stolen not just money, but her connection to her past, her father, her family legacy. She made it sound like I'd burned down a museum. Marcus went second. He was more analytical. He talked about how, in his view, major family decisions require consensus. He said that even if I'd been doing most of the caregiving, that didn't give me unilateral authority over Mom's life or assets. He said selling the house without consulting the family was financial elder abuse, even if Mom consented, because she was emotionally vulnerable and couldn't be expected to make such a huge decision in her grief state. He actually said that Mom wasn't capable of consenting properly because she was still grieving Dad, 4 years later. Then it was my turn. I kept it simple. I listed every single thing I'd done for Mom in the past 4 years. Every lawn mowing, every doctor appointment, every repair, every emergency, every grocery trip, every bill I'd paid. I pulled out my phone and showed them my calendar, color-coded for Mom tasks versus work versus personal life. Mom tasks took up at least 15 to 20 hours every single week. Where were you for any of this? I asked them. Which of these tasks did you do? Marcus, you visit twice a year. Jennifer, you come for Sunday dinner once a month. That's it. That's your contribution to Mom's care. We contribute in other ways, Jennifer said. I call her almost every week. Almost every week. Congratulations. I see her 3 times a week minimum. I'm her caregiver, her handyman, her driver, her financial manager, her healthcare advocate. I'm the one who found her crying in the bathroom because she couldn't get the toilet unclogged and felt helpless. I'm the one who held her hand in the ER when she had chest pains that turned out to be anxiety. I'm the one who has earned the right to make decisions about her care. That's exactly the problem, Marcus said, standing up. You think caregiving equals ownership. You think because you did more, you get to control everything. That's not how families work. No, Marcus. Families work by people actually showing up. You can't phone in caregiving from Colorado and then demand equal say. So what, this is punishment? You're punishing us for not being geographically convenient? I'm not punishing anyone. I'm making sure Mom is cared for. By spending her money as fast as possible so we inherit nothing. There it was. The real issue, said out loud finally. You think I want her money? You think I'm doing this for me? I've spent thousands of dollars of my own money on her over the years. I've sacrificed countless hours. I've put my life on hold, all so she could be safe and happy. And you're accusing me of greed? Then prove it, Jennifer said. Take a loan. Give us our share. Let Mom stay at Meadowbrook if you really think it's best. But make us whole. Make you whole? From what? From inheritance you're not entitled to while Mom is alive? Aunt Susan intervened. Okay, everyone calm down. Let's talk solutions. Derek, What if we sell your mom's furniture and belongings from the house? Whatever's left. That money could be split. Most of it's already been donated or is in Mom's apartment, I said. There's maybe $2,000 worth of stuff left in storage. Split 3 ways. That's $660 each. Better than nothing, Marcus muttered. Also, Uncle Jim said carefully, what about the cars? Patricia doesn't drive anymore, right? Is her car being sold? She gave me her car, I admitted. My car had 180,000 miles and was about to die. She offered me hers since she doesn't need it. The look on Marcus's face. You took her car too? She offered it to me. It was just sitting in the Meadowbrook parking lot unused. What's it worth? Jennifer demanded. I don't know, maybe $8,000? It's a 2016 Honda Accord with 60,000 miles. Great, so that's another $8,000 you stole from us? Marcus said. Stole? She gave it to me. After you manipulated her into thinking she doesn't need it anymore. I looked at Aunt Susan and Uncle Jim. Do you hear this? I'm being accused of stealing a car that Mom voluntarily gave me because she doesn't drive. Uncle Jim cleared his throat. Derek, I think maybe to keep peace, you should consider selling the car and splitting that money with your siblings. It would be a gesture of good faith. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A gesture of good faith? I've shown nothing but good faith. I've devoted 4 years to Mom's care, and now I should sell a car she gave me to appease their greed? It's not greed to want what's fair, Jennifer shouted. Fair would be you reimbursing me for 4 years of caregiving. Want to know what that would cost at market rates? Home health aides charge $25 or $30 an hour. If I worked 15 hours a week for 4 years, that's 3,120 hours. At 25 hour, that's $78,000. Each of you owes me $39,000 for the caregiving you didn't do. Marcus laughed bitterly. Oh, so now you want to be paid for taking care of your own mother? No, I'm making a point. You can't have it both ways. You can't demand inheritance money while ignoring that I provided $78,000 worth of free labor. Nobody asked you to do that, Jennifer said. Someone had to. We were all shouting again. Aunt Susan was in tears. Uncle Jim looked disgusted with all of us. The mediation ended with nothing resolved except everyone even angrier than before. Marcus said his lawyer would be moving forward with a lawsuit. Jennifer said she was consulting with her own lawyer about whether she could sue separately. I left feeling hopeless and furious. That night, Mom called me. She'd heard about the mediation from Aunt Susan. Derek, honey, I need you to give them the car. Mom, please, I can't take this anymore. My blood pressure is through the roof. I'm not sleeping. I'm having panic attacks. Please just give them the car and make this stop. Mom, it won't stop. The car isn't what this is about. They want the money from the house. They won't be happy until I somehow come up with $200,000 to split between them. Then maybe we should give them something. Take it from my investment account. No, Mom. That money is for your care, for your future. What happens in 10 years when you need memory care or full-time nursing? If we give them $100,000 each now, you'll run out of money. She started crying. But I can't live like this. I can't have my children hating each other. I can't be the reason this family is destroyed. You're not the reason, Mom. Their greed is the reason. Don't say that about your siblings. They're hurt. They feel left out. They feel entitled to money that belongs to you. Maybe I should just leave Meadowbrook, move to a cheaper place. Then there'd be more money. Mom, no! You love it there. You're happy there. But it costs too much. If I was somewhere cheaper, maybe $500 a month instead of $3,200, then there'd be more money left over and your brother and sister wouldn't be so upset. I realized with horror that Marcus and Jennifer's campaign was working. They were making Mom feel so guilty that she was willing to give up her happiness to appease them. Mom, listen to me very carefully. You are not leaving Meadowbrook. You are not going somewhere cheaper. You deserve to be comfortable and happy and safe. Dad would want that. I want that. That money is yours to spend on your life. Please don't let them guilt you into anything else. She was quiet for a long time. Then, Derek, what if I die tomorrow? All this fighting will have been for nothing. The money won't matter. You kids won't even speak at my funeral. Is that what you want? Of course not. But you're not going to die tomorrow, Mom. You could live another 20, 30 years. Healthy, happy years. That's what this money is for. But if I do, promise me you'll make peace with them. Promise me you won't let this destroy the family forever. I couldn't promise that, because I honestly don't think there's any coming back from this. We hung up and I just sat there feeling completely defeated. I'd done everything right. I'd taken care of Mom, found her a great place to live, managed her finances responsibly, documented everything properly. And somehow, I'm the bad guy. Lauren found me on the couch at midnight, staring at nothing. They're going to destroy us, I told her. Marcus has money for lawyers. His wife makes over $200K. They can drag this out for years. The legal fees alone will ruin us. Then maybe, she started, carefully, maybe you should consider settling. Settling? Give them money from Mom's care fund? Give them something, not $100K each, but something, the car. Maybe $10,000 each from your own savings as a peace offering, just to make it stop. That's giving in to extortion. It's called picking your battles, Derek. Yes, you're legally right. Yes, you're morally right. But is being right worth losing your entire family? Worth the stress killing your mom? Worth years of legal bills? I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. What I do know is this. 2 days ago, I got served with formal legal papers. Marcus is suing me for breach of fiduciary duty, undue influence, and conversion of assets. He's demanding a full accounting of Mom's finances going back 10 years, removal of me as power of attorney, and equitable distribution of estate assets. Jennifer called me yesterday. She's not suing, but only because her lawyer told her she doesn't have standing since Mom is still alive and it was Mom's house. But she said, "When Mom dies, Derek, I will fight you for every penny. I will make sure everyone knows what you did. I will contest the will. I will drag this through probate for years. You will not get away with this." I've had to take a leave of absence from work because I can't focus. Lauren and I have barely spoken, not because we're fighting, but because there's nothing left to say. Mom's blood pressure is so bad, her doctor is considering hospitalizing her. And the worst part? I do it all again. Because Mom is happy at Meadowbrook. She is safer there. She is better off. When I visit her and she's not stressed about the family drama, I see her laughing with friends, excited about activities, living instead of just existing. So tell me, Reddit, when doing the right thing destroys everything, was it still the right thing to do? I need to know, am I the asshole? I'm writing this from a hospital waiting room at 3 a.m., so forgive me if this is scattered. Everything has come to a head in the worst possible way, and I need to get this all out because I genuinely don't know if my family will ever recover from this. After my last update, things moved fast. Too fast. The lawsuit from Marcus was scheduled for a preliminary hearing. My lawyer was confident we'd win. We had documentation for everything. Mom's cognitive evaluation showed perfect capacity, The power of attorney was airtight. But he warned me, even if you win, this will cost you at least $30,000 in legal fees, maybe more if it drags out. And family lawsuits get ugly. Be prepared for them to dig into every aspect of your life. He wasn't kidding. Marcus's lawyer subpoenaed my bank records, credit card statements, phone records, emails, everything. They were looking for any evidence that I'd benefited personally from Mom's money. They requested depositions from Lauren, from Mom's doctor, from the staff at Meadowbrook, even from my employer to verify how much time I'd taken off work. Jennifer, not to be outdone, started her own campaign. She created a private Facebook group called Justice for Patricia and added about 40 family members and friends. I only know this because my cousin Amy, who actually believes my side, sent me screenshots. The group was full of posts about elder abuse, articles about financial exploitation, and Jennifer's increasingly dramatic posts about how I'd stolen their inheritance and imprisoned Mom in a facility. One post from Jennifer said, "My brother isolated our grieving mother, convinced her she was helpless, rushed her into signing legal documents she didn't understand, sold her home without family knowledge, and is now spending her money as fast as possible, so there's nothing left for her other children. If this isn't abuse, what is?" The comments were brutal. People I'd known for years, people who'd been at my wedding, were commenting things like, "This is horrifying," and "Can't you report him to Adult Protective Services?" and "Your poor mother, I'm so sorry." My reputation was destroyed. People at church stopped talking to me. Neighbors who used to be friendly now avoided eye contact. My boss called me in for a chat about whether my personal issues were affecting my work performance. Lauren was getting it too. Someone left a nasty note on her car at work calling her an accomplice to elder abuse. Her sister called to ask if it was true that I'd stolen from my mother. Even her own family was starting to question whether she'd married a bad person. "I can't do this anymore," she told me one night. "Derek, I love you, but this is killing us. Our marriage, our reputation, our finances, our mental health, everything is being destroyed. You need to settle this, whatever it takes." I can't give them Mom's money, Lauren. It's not mine to give. Then give them something else. Offer them the car, offer them $20,000 from our savings, offer to give them first pick of Mom's belongings when she eventually passes. Something to make this stop. That's negotiating with terrorists. It's called survival. She was crying now. "I'm pregnant, Derek." Everything stopped. "What?" "I found out 3 days ago. I haven't told you because there hasn't been a good moment. But I'm pregnant and I can't bring a baby into this war zone. I can't raise a child in a family that's been blown apart. You need to end this." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. We'd been trying for a baby for 2 years. This should have been the happiest moment of our lives. Instead, it was happening in the middle of a nightmare. "Lauren, honey, congratulations. This is amazing." "It doesn't feel amazing, Derek. It feels terrifying. Because I look at your family and I see what happens when people can't forgive each other, can't compromise, can't let go of being right. Is that what I'm bringing a baby into?" I held her while she cried, and I made a decision. I called my lawyer the next morning. "What's the minimum I can offer to make this go away?" He thought about it. "You could offer them the car. That's about $8,000. You could offer to split any remaining physical belongings from the house evenly. And you could offer a token payment from your own funds, say $5,000 each, as a gesture of goodwill, not as an admission of wrongdoing. Frame it as, 'I understand this has been emotional, and I want to preserve family relationships. So $18,000 total, plus the car. Plus, you'd need to agree to provide them with annual accounting of your mother's finances going forward, just to maintain transparency and prevent future disputes. It felt like extortion. It felt wrong. But I agreed. My lawyer drafted a settlement offer and sent it to Marcus's attorney. We waited 3 days for a response. The response was, insufficient. Our client seeks equitable distribution of the estate proceeds, $100,000 each, plus costs and attorney fees. They wanted $200,000 plus their legal bills. Money I absolutely did not have. Money that would require draining Mom's care fund or taking a massive loan against my house. Countered with $25,000 each, my lawyer advised. It's a significant amount, shows you're serious about settling, but not so much that you're bankrupting yourself. We sent the counter. I didn't even tell Mom about these negotiations. Her health couldn't take any more stress. While we waited for their response, I went to visit Mom. It was a Wednesday afternoon, her book club day. I got to Meadowbrook around 2 p.m. and went to her apartment. She wasn't there. I checked the community room where book club usually met. Not there either. I started to panic. I found a staff member. Have you seen Patricia Patterson? Oh, Mrs. Patterson checked herself out of Meadowbrook 3 days ago. My blood went cold. She what? She settled her account and moved out. I assumed you knew. You're listed as her emergency contact, but she said she'd already discussed it with you. I called Mom's cell phone immediately. No answer. I called again, and again. On the 5th try, she picked up. Hi, honey. Her voice was small, exhausted. Mom, where are you? Meadowbrook said you checked out. I'm at Jennifer's house, dear. I've been here since Sunday. You're where? Why? What happened? She sighed deeply. I couldn't take it anymore, Derek. The stress, the fighting, knowing I was the cause of all this. Jennifer came to visit on Saturday, and she was so sweet, so apologetic. She said she just wanted me to feel supported and not so alone in all this conflict. She offered to let me stay with her for a while, just until things calmed down. Mom, no. No. This is exactly what we were trying to avoid. You can't live with Jennifer. She's overwhelmed with her own family, and that's an hour and a half away from your doctors. She said she'd take me to my appointments. Mom, she works full-time. She can barely manage her own schedule. Derek, honey, I've made my decision. I asked Meadowbrook for a refund of the remainder of my entry fee. They prorated it based on the time I was there. I got back $62,000. I'm giving $31,000 to Marcus and $31,000 to Jennifer. That should help calm things down. I couldn't breathe. 62,000 holsters. Mom, that money was for your care. And now it will help restore peace in my family. That's more important to me than a fancy apartment. What about your care going forward? Where will you live? Jennifer says I can stay here as long as I need. And if it doesn't work out, well, there are cheaper places than Meadowbrook. I'll manage. Mom, you loved Meadowbrook. You had friends, activities, safety. I had guilt, Derek. I had stress. I had high blood pressure and panic attacks because my children were destroying each other over me. This is better. Better? Mom, Jennifer is using you. She manipulated you into leaving so she could get that money. Don't say that about your sister. She loves me. She's trying to help. By taking $31,000 from you, that's helping. That money was always going to be hers someday anyway. This way, at least, it brings peace now. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive to Jennifer's house and drag Mom out of there. But what could I do? She was a mentally competent adult making her own choices, even if they were terrible choices driven by guilt and manipulation. Mom, please, just think about this. You left a place where you were happy to move in with Jennifer, who is already overwhelmed, and you gave away $62,000 that was meant to last you years, all to appease Marcus and Jennifer's greed. Can't you see what's happening? What I see is my son who thinks he knows better than everyone else. Derek, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I truly do. But you don't get to control my life. I'm making my own choice here. A choice they manipulated you into. Goodbye, Derek. I need to go help Jennifer with dinner. She hung up. I sat in the Meadowbrook parking lot and completely fell apart. I'd failed. Everything I'd done, the years of caregiving, the careful planning, finding her the perfect place, managing her finances responsibly, all of it was undone in one weekend by Jennifer's manipulation. I called my lawyer. They got to her. She moved out of Meadowbrook and gave them $31,000 each. Jesus Christ. Okay, this actually changes things legally. If she voluntarily gave them money, that undermines Marcus's lawsuit claiming you were controlling her finances. But Derek, I have to ask, do you want to keep fighting this? Or do you want to let it go? What do you mean? I mean, your mother made her choice. She chose to appease your siblings. If you keep fighting, keep the lawsuit going, keep demanding she move back to Meadowbrook, keep trying to control her finances, you're just proving their point that you're controlling. Maybe it's time to step back. Step back and watch her move into a worse situation because Jennifer guilt-tripped her. Step back and accept that she's an adult who made a choice you disagree with. Derek, I say this as your lawyer and honestly as someone who's watched this whole thing unfold. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. I knew he was right, but it felt like abandoning her. That night, I drafted an email to Marcus and Jennifer. I'm withdrawing my opposition to your concerns. Mom has made her choice to give you money and move in with Jennifer. I disagree with this decision, but I respect her right to make it. I will no longer be involved in her finances or living situation unless she specifically requests my help. I'm stepping back. You win. I hope you're happy with what you've accomplished. I showed it to Lauren before sending. She read it and started crying. Thank God. Maybe now we can have some peace. I sent the email at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Marcus responded within 20 minutes. This isn't about winning, Derek. This is about Mom having autonomy instead of you controlling everything. I'm glad you finally understand that. Jennifer's response came the next morning. Mom is safe and happy here with me. She's already so much more relaxed without your constant pressure and hovering. Maybe now she can heal. I didn't respond to either of them. My lawyer called Marcus's lawyer and withdrew all opposition to the lawsuit, effectively conceding. The case was dismissed. I'd spent $8,200 in legal fees for nothing. The following 2 weeks were eerily quiet. I heard nothing from Mom, Marcus, or Jennifer. I focused on Lauren and the pregnancy. We had our first ultrasound, saw the heartbeat, started planning for the baby. I tried to tell myself that stepping back was the right choice, that Mom was an adult who could make her own decisions. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. 3 weeks after Mom moved in with Jennifer, I got a call at 2:30 a.m. from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Derek Patterson? Yes. Who is this? This is Dr. Chen from St. Mary's Hospital. I'm calling about your mother, Patricia Patterson. She was brought in by ambulance about an hour ago. She's had a severe fall and we need family here immediately. I was in the car within 5 minutes. Lauren insisted on coming with me despite being exhausted from first trimester nausea. We made it to the hospital in 35 minutes. Mom was in the ICU. She'd fallen down Jennifer's stairs, the full flight from the second floor to the first. She'd broken her right hip, fractured her left wrist, had a severe concussion, and they were monitoring for internal bleeding. Jennifer was in the waiting room, hysterical. Brad was trying to calm her down. When she saw me, she ran over. "Derek, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." "What happened?" "She got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. I didn't hear her. The stairs don't have a railing on one side because we were supposed to install one but hadn't gotten around to it yet. And it was dark, and she must have gotten disoriented." "Your stairs don't have a full railing?" My voice was deadly calm. "We have kids. They're used to it. But Mom wasn't, and I should have warned her better. I should have." "You moved a 69-year-old woman with arthritis and balance issues into a house with unsafe stairs?" "It was temporary. I was going to make accommodations." "She was at Meadowbrook, with emergency call buttons and staff and safety features. She was safe there." "Don't you dare blame me for this. This was an accident." "An accident that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't manipulated her into leaving a place specifically designed for elderly safety." "I didn't manipulate her. She wanted to leave. She was miserable there because of you." A nurse came out and asked us to keep our voices down. This was ICU. We both fell silent, seething. Marcus arrived an hour later, having caught the first flight from Denver. His face when he saw Mom through the ICU window, unconscious, intubated, hooked up to a dozen machines, was devastated. "How bad?" he asked me. "Bad. They're saying the hip will need surgery. The concussion is severe. She might have brain bleeding. They won't know the full extent for another 24 hours. He nodded, then sat down heavily in a waiting room chair. We sat in silence for maybe 10 minutes before he spoke. "This is my fault." I didn't disagree, so I said nothing. I was so angry about the house, about the money, about feeling left out of decisions. I didn't stop to think about whether Mom was actually better off at Meadowbrook. I just wanted to win the argument with you. "Yeah," I said. I noticed. "Jennifer called me 2 weeks ago. She said Mom was struggling at her place, that the stairs were hard for her, that Jennifer was too busy to take her to appointments, that Mom was depressed and isolated. Jennifer wanted to know if I thought we should look into getting Mom back into Meadowbrook or somewhere similar." I turned to look at him. "And what did you say?" I said no. I said Mom made her choice, we got our money, and if she was struggling, that was between her and Jennifer to figure out. I said I wasn't going to fund Meadowbrook with my $31,000 after we'd fought so hard to get it. The honesty was almost worse than the denial would have been. "So Jennifer knew Mom wasn't safe there and you told her too bad?" "I didn't know it was this unsafe. I thought she just meant Mom was bored or lonely, not that she was at risk of literally falling down the stairs. Marcus, Mom is 69 with arthritis and balance issues. Any stairs are a risk, especially stairs without full railings in a house full of kids running around. You didn't know because you didn't want to know." He put his head in his hands. "What have I done?" Jennifer joined us, looking wrecked. "The doctor says she needs surgery tomorrow morning. Hip replacement. But they're worried about doing it because of the concussion. If there's brain swelling, anesthesia could be dangerous. But if they don't do the surgery soon, complications from the break could kill her anyway. So it's a coin flip on whether our mother survives," I said. "They're giving her a 60-40 chance of surviving the surgery without major complications. If they wait, those odds get worse." We sat there, the three of us, in the reality of what our fight had led to. "I need to say something," I said finally, "and you both need to listen." They looked at me. Mom was safe at Meadowbrook. She was happy. She had friends, activities, medical support, emergency systems. She was thriving there. But you two couldn't stand that I'd made that decision without you. You couldn't stand that the house money was going to her care instead of to your bank accounts. So you sued me, you slandered me, you turned the family against me, and you manipulated Mom into leaving the one place where she was safe. Derek, Jennifer started. I'm not done. You guilt-tripped her into giving you $62,000 that was supposed to last her for years, money that was supposed to ensure she'd always have good care. You took that money, and now she's here, fighting for her life, because she fell down stairs that wouldn't have existed if she'd stayed where she belonged. You don't know that she wouldn't have fallen at Meadowbrook, too, Marcus said weakly. You're right, I don't know. But the odds were a hell of a lot better in a facility designed for elderly safety with staff checking on her regularly than in Jennifer's chaotic house with 2 kids, inadequate railings, and no one monitoring her. Jennifer was crying. I never meant for this to happen. I really did want to help her. I thought she'd be happier with family. You thought you'd be happier with $31,000, I said brutally. Don't rewrite history now. That's not fair. What's not fair is Mom lying in ICU because you prioritized money over her safety. Marcus stood up. Okay, enough. You're right, Derek, about all of it. We were wrong. We were selfish. We prioritized the wrong things. But right now, Mom needs surgery, and we need to make that decision together. So, can we table the blame game for 5 seconds and focus on that? He was right. I hated that he was right, but he was. We met with the surgeon, Dr. Reynolds, a woman in her 50s who'd done thousands of hip replacements. She laid out the risks clearly. With the concussion, there was increased danger of brain swelling under anesthesia, risk of stroke, risk of complications from blood pressure spikes during surgery. But without the surgery, the fracture would cause blood clots, infections, and likely death within weeks. If she was your mother, I asked, what would you do? Dr. Reynolds didn't hesitate. I'd do the surgery. The risks of waiting are worse than the risks of operating. We consented to the surgery. It was scheduled for 8 a.m. the next morning. That night, the 3 of us stayed in the waiting room. We didn't talk much. At some point around midnight, Jennifer said quietly, I'm giving the money back. The $31,000, it should go back into Mom's care fund. Me too, Marcus said. All of it. Whatever she needs. I nodded. It was something at least. At 3 a.m., Lauren brought us coffee from the 24-hour cafe downstairs. She sat with us for a while, her hand protectively on her still flat stomach. Is this going to be our family? She asked me quietly. Fighting over money and pride until someone gets hurt? No, I said firmly. We're going to be better than this. I meant it. Whatever happened with Marcus and Jennifer, I was going to make sure our child grew up understanding that family means showing up, means sacrifice, means putting others' needs above your own wants. I was going to break this cycle. The surgery started at 8:07 a.m. We were told it would take 3-4 hours. At 10:30 a.m., Dr. Reynolds came out. Her face was neutral, professional. The surgery went well. We got the hip replaced successfully. She's in recovery now. The next 48 hours are critical. We'll be monitoring for blood clots, infection, and watching her neurological status closely because of the concussion. But she came through the surgery better than expected. We all exhaled. Jennifer started crying in relief. Marcus looked like he might pass out. I just felt numb. Can we see her? I asked. She'll be in recovery for another 2 hours, then moved to a room. You can see her then. but she'll be heavily sedated for at least the next day." We thanked her, and she left. Then the three of us just stood there in the hallway. "What now?" Jennifer asked. "Now we figure out her care going forward," I said. "She can't come back to your place, Jennifer. Those stairs nearly killed her." "I know. I'm so sorry." "I'm not interested in apologies. I'm interested in solutions. She needs somewhere safe, somewhere with medical support, somewhere designed for someone with her mobility issues." "Meadowbrook," Marcus said. "She should go back to Meadowbrook. She gave back the entry fee, and her apartment might be rented to someone else now. Then we find somewhere similar, and we pay for it, the three of us. With the money we took from her, plus we split the ongoing costs." Jennifer nodded. "Whatever she needs, I'll make it work." "And," I said carefully, "I think we need to agree that I make the day-to-day care decisions. Not because I'm better than you, but because I'm here and you're not. But I'll consult with you on major things, and I'll send you monthly updates on her health and finances. Deal?" They both nodded. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't even really reconciliation. But it was a start. Over the next week, Mom slowly recovered. The hip was healing well. The concussion symptoms were improving. Her cognitive function remained intact, thank God. She'd been incredibly lucky. Half an inch different, and she could have hit her head wrong and died instantly. When she was finally awake enough to have real conversations, I sat with her alone. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, sweetie." Her voice was weak but clear. "I made a mess of things, didn't I? You made a choice. It didn't work out. I should have listened to you. Meadowbrook was... it was good. I was happy there. But I felt so guilty about you kids fighting. Mom, Marcus and Jennifer's behavior is not your fault. You don't have to sacrifice your safety and happiness to manage their feelings. But family is supposed to take care of each other, which is what I was trying to do, and what Marcus and Jennifer should have been doing instead of fighting over money." She was quiet for a moment. "Are you three okay now?" "We're working on it. We're going to find you a new place like Meadowbrook, somewhere safe. And we're going to all chip in to make sure you're taken care of. Derek, I need you to know something. Even when I left Meadowbrook, even when I gave them the money, I knew you were doing what you thought was right. You've always been there for me. Always. And I'm grateful. I love you, Mom. I love you too, honey. And I'm sorry I didn't trust you enough to ignore their manipulations. It wasn't completely on me to fix this, but hearing her say that helped. We found Mom a spot at a different senior community called Heritage Springs. It was actually nicer than Meadowbrook in some ways. More amenities, better medical facilities on site, and it specialized in post-surgical rehabilitation. The entry fee was $95,000. Marcus paid $40,000, Jennifer paid $25,000, and I paid $30,000. The monthly costs of $3,400 would be covered by Mom's remaining investment funds, with the three of us splitting any shortfall. Marcus's lawsuit was officially dropped with prejudice, meaning he can never file it again. Jennifer closed the Justice for Patricia Facebook group and posted a public apology saying there had been misunderstandings and that the family was moving forward together. It didn't undo the damage to my reputation, but it was something. Mom moved into Heritage Springs 6 weeks after her fall. She'll need physical therapy for months to fully recover, but the prognosis is good. She's already made friends with her neighbor, a 72-year-old former teacher named Dorothy, who also loves mystery novels. My relationship with Marcus and Jennifer is complicated. We're civil. We're communicating. But the trust is gone. Maybe it'll come back someday, maybe it won't. I send them weekly updates on Mom's progress. They send money when needed. Marcus has visited twice since Mom got out of the hospital. Jennifer visits every Sunday now, though I suspect guilt is a major motivator. Lauren and I are expecting a girl in February. We're naming her Patricia Rose, Patricia after my mom, Rose after Lauren's grandmother. When we told Mom, she cried happy tears. As for the original question, am I the asshole? Here's what I think now. Was I legally right? Yes. Everything I did was legal and properly documented. Was I morally right to prioritize Mom's care? Yes. She needed to be somewhere safe, and I made that happen. Should I have communicated better with Marcus and Jennifer? Also yes. I could have been more persistent, more explicit, more demanding of their attention before making such a huge decision. Did my approach cause unnecessary damage? Probably. If I'd somehow forced a family meeting earlier, if I'd refused to move forward without their explicit buy-in, even if it meant losing that buyer, maybe we could have avoided some of this. But would Mom have been better off? No. Any delay, any committee-style decision-making with my siblings would have meant more time in an unsafe house. It would have meant compromising on where she went, possibly choosing somewhere cheaper to preserve more inheritance for Marcus and Jennifer. The harsh truth is that sometimes doing the right thing means accepting that people will hate you for it. Sometimes protecting someone means other people will accuse you of controlling them. Sometimes being the one who shows up means being resented by those who don't. I saved my mom's life by getting her out of that house. If she'd stayed there, she might have fallen on those steep basement stairs or had another medical emergency with no one to help. And if she'd stayed at Jennifer's one more week, who knows what would have happened. But I also learned something important. You can't save people from their own choices. When Mom decided to leave Meadowbrook to appease my siblings, I should have stepped back sooner. Maybe if I had, she wouldn't have felt so guilty. Maybe she would have stood her ground. Or maybe this was always going to end with her falling and all of us finally waking up to what actually matters. My daughter will grow up knowing her grandmother. That's what matters. Mom will live out her years in safety and comfort. That's what matters. And maybe, eventually, my siblings and I will rebuild something resembling a functional relationship. That would be nice. But it's not what matters most. What matters most is that when faced with a choice between doing the easy thing and doing the right thing, I chose right. Even knowing it would cost me my family's approval, even knowing it would cost me money and reputation and peace, I chose to protect someone who needed protecting. So, am I the asshole? Maybe a little bit, for the communication failures and the lack of empathy for my siblings' feelings about losing their childhood home. But overall, no, I'm not the asshole. I'm just someone who is willing to be the villain in someone else's story if it meant being the hero in the story that actually mattered. Mom is safe. Mom is happy. Mom is alive. Everything else is just noise. If you made it this far through my story, thank you for reading. If you found it engaging or thought-provoking, please hit that like button and subscribe to Who's the Villain? AITA for more complex moral dilemmas like this one. And here's my question for you in the comments. On a scale of 0-10, rate my actions. And tell me, who do you think was really wrong in this situation? Was it me for making unilateral decisions? Was it Marcus and Jennifer for prioritizing inheritance over Mom's care? Was it Mom for not standing up for herself sooner? Or was it all of us for letting money and pride nearly destroy our family? Drop your rating and your thoughts below. I genuinely want to know what you think. Because even now, sitting here writing this with my daughter kicking in my wife's belly and my mom recovering in a safe place and my siblings barely speaking to me, I still don't know if I'd do anything differently. And maybe that's the real question. When doing the right thing costs you everything, how do you know it was worth it? Thanks for listening, Reddit. Take care of your families. Life's too short and fragile to waste it fighting over things that don't matter.